Roch, first of all, we love the shirt, but we do want to dig in here to some other dads and what they have going on. Tyler ONeal, we'll go with him first because we've barely seen him up here in Baltimore. He was supposed to be down in AAA with a rehab assignment, but some stuff's been going on.
Yeah, by the way, my daughter made this shirt. She asked me to get her a cricket years ago, and luckily I Googled that because I thought she was into insects. Apparently it's something you use to make shirts. I don't know. Anyway, ONeal, he was trending in the right direction. We talked to him in his locker before the last trip, and he said he was going to go to Seattle with the team, which he did. And then he was going to go ahead and meet up with Norfolk while they were in Sacramento. And he got into 5 games, and suddenly he was rested for a couple to rest that left shoulder, the impingement. And I asked, when does rest become a shutdown? And we found out. He had an injection in the AC joint. He's been pulled off of that assignment. We're told maybe about a week where he won't have any activity. And then you have to wonder, is it going to be that long? If it's longer, does he have to start his hitting progression all over again? Are we going all the way back to dry swings, hitting off a tee, face live pitching, go back on the assignment? Or can he just jump right back into a new assignment with Norfolk or whatever affiliate might be home? But, disappointing for both sides, obviously. I mean, he was signed to a 3-year, $49.5 million contract. 31 home runs last year. The Orioles knew the injury history. It's his 16th time now on the IL. I think it's 13 different body parts. But, a couple gold gloves. They love the power. Right field was there for him, could play all 3 positions. And he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. He had the neck inflammation earlier. He's only gotten into 24 games. And a big disappointment for him as well. He's talked about how much it hurts him watching the team struggle, and he can't do anything about it. He's a gamer. He wants to play. Hasn't been able to do it. He's got an opt-out after that first year of the contract, and the way that's trending right now, that won't even be a consideration. So we don't know when we're going to see him again. And somebody else who's probably hurting is Essen Kjerstad, because he was supposed to get a big opportunity this year anyway, and especially with ONeal out, that left right field there for him every single day, if not DHing. He hit 192, and he's back in AAA. That wasn't part of the plan either. And he reported, but he's only in the lineup for the first time today as the DH because he's been working with the hitting coaches down there to try and work out a few things instead of just immediately hopping into the lineup. But he's playing today.
That's interesting. And you certainly, obviously, as you said, you hope the best for both of them. And it's a head scratcher because for ONeal, it doesn't ever seem like anything that's serious. It's not broken bones. It's soft tissue that has literally come up, as you said, his whole career. Now, we're going to keep it with the outfield here. Colton Cowser and Ryan O'Hearn. Cowser, some tough plays in the outfield, and O'Hearn kind of, being the victim of somebody else making a bad play.
Yeah, they're both available today. That's the good news. And Tony Mansolino said, look, if this was September pennant race, they're playing. But Cowser, we've been told, is still sore from crashing into the fence. We were never told exactly where, but I'm going to guess the shoulder at least. And you saw Dylan Carlson with the reaction, motioning to the dugout. It looked really bad. But Cowser is available and should be back in the lineup by tomorrow. And O'Hearn, got clipped a little there at the ankle, and he was supposed to play right field the next day. And he woke up, there was swelling, it was sore, because I was not ready to start roaming right field at that point. May as well have somebody else out there. But he said he can play today, and he certainly said he'll be ready to rock tomorrow, which I assume means back in the lineup. It also helps the Angels are starting a left-hander today. Makes it a little bit easier to sit both of them. Pretty good bench, too, with Rutschman and Jackson Holliday also on it. So there could be some late maneuvering here.
Yeah, that's what we were just looking at, is Rutschman has stellar numbers against Kikuchi, and you get why he's going to ultimately start the day on rest. But as you said, you love having to go to those guys. And I love O'Hearn kind of being that next James McCann that this clubhouse always seems to need, is just reminding them he doesn't really want to take the bench. He's always going to fight against it, but he's also got to recognize when it's detrimental to the rest of the team, and he is fighting to get back out there. So certainly encouraging. And we know this, too. You and I have talked about this a lot, stepping away from the Orioles themselves for a moment, but you've had some really great memories over the years. Obviously, your career being shaped by your dad here in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, this is always a mixed bag of emotions this day, as you know. I'm all cried out, Melanie. I'm good.
That makes one of us.
Yeah, I mean, it all ties into sports, too. We had a wonderful relationship anyway, but so much of it is sports. And I've talked about the first game I ever went to, first Oriole game, was Game 2 of the '71 World Series. And I wasn't an infant. I'm just that old. But it was, you get a day off school because it got rained out on a Sunday, and they were day games then. We were on our way to the ballpark, had the radio on, game postponed, turned around. I'm devastated because I have school the next day. My dad says, oh, we're going. I said, I have school. He goes, we're going. So I got to spend a day with my dad and go to my first game. They won 11-3. Jim Palmer pitched. Richie Hebner hit a 3-run homer for the Pirates, and he managed Frederick later in the Orioles minor league system. And I brought that up to him. He said, "Yeah, I hit that big 3-run homer that made it 11-3 in the 8th inning." And of course, Palmer remembered the pitch, his pitch
Of course
count,
he did.
how many pitches he had thrown the previous start. But so I always have that memory. Still one of the best days of my life. And we tailgated at Maryland games, and we went to the last football game, last Colts game in Baltimore together when Baltimore's trying to get an expansion football team, and with the whole dog and pony show with the exhibition game, Dolphins and Saints at the stadium, because we had to prove we were worthy of professional football in Baltimore. My dad took us there, and when he was an administrator at Northeast, he took us to see donkey basketball. And Melanie, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you're not familiar.
Heard.
Yes, administrators, teachers, not my dad, but teachers riding donkeys on a basketball court. You can't run a fast break on a donkey. If you learn anything, one thing from this segment, you can't run a fast break on a donkey.
It's a little slower.
I have that tattooed on my back. You can't do it. And, roller derby, back when it was like pro wrestling, he took me to one of those at the school. My mom's watching it through her fingers. She's appalled. Meanwhile, I'm like wide-eyed as they're fighting and everything else. So just so many great memories that tied to sports. He told me that the best cheerleaders were in the SEC. He was right. Roll Tide. We would watch bowl games on multiple TVs. I mean, it was so much about sports, play catch together. Gave me his glove one time, and I thought, this is when I know I'm a man, when your dad gives you his glove. So just a lot of memories. And on a crappy weather day like this, I want to leave you with his best piece of advice, and I hope you'll take this with you. Be careful of the wet leaves. They're like ice. He told me that every time I went out after I got my license. I still think of that to this day.
Oh, that's perfect. And just to circle back here for you, of course, I learned about donkey basketball through Ben McDonald, because who else naturally experienced that in our lifetime? Roch, we love it. And I hope that you keep those memories with you today. And thank you for sharing those.
Thank you. I appreciate it.